Well, I've been up since 4, so if I start nodding off, please don't hold it against me. My name is Jamark. I put my card there for you because this is what I believe, and this isn't just my shtick, but I honestly believe that there's in this room, there's probably a couple millionaires, okay? And if you don't believe that about yourself, hopefully by the end of our time together, you'll start down that path of believing that I am capable of that. In spite of where you came from, in spite of your lineage and the people that have raised you up, I truly believe that there probably in this room is a couple millionaires. And you can make your decision if you want that to be you or not. It's up to you, right? And I even would venture to believe that perhaps, possibly, maybe there is at least one billionaire. I know that that's what I'm shooting for. And I am not joking, right? And so my uncle shared this with me, Lisa's dad shared this with me. In a very dark moment in my life, I did a little time, okay, because I made some mistakes when I was a kid, all right? And so in that setting, in one of the darkest moments in my life, he said to me, from a book he was reading, he said, set a goal to become a millionaire, not because of the money, but because of what it will make of you to become it, right? If you're going to take notes, I encourage you. I got a lot of stuff in my head that I think is going to be beneficial for you. And I think that what I want to convey to you is the things that I'm sharing with you, like Rob said, some of them have turned from just thoughts and theories into these are roadmaps. These are steps that can be taken no matter what place you are in your life, whether you're a millionaire now or you're just getting started on your journey. These principles that I will share with you can make you $1 million. That's just, I'm very confident in that now. Like Rob said, from 16 to 26, I was in the music industry. We built $1 million music group. From 26 to 36, we built a medical business that was doing $8 to $9 million a year right here in Tulsa, right? Now from 36 to 46, we were meeting with our financial advisor a couple years, last year, I think it was. Yeah, last year, 2018, end of 2018. And she just kind of casually, haphazardly said that we were multimillionaires. What? That's not normal for us where we come from. My wife grew up in West Tulsa and went to Webster, right? I grew up, I went to Union here in Tulsa, and but we weren't the rich side of Union, right? And so I'm saying to you from a person who has made tragic mistakes, lost it all twice, right? I'm saying to you that from where you are right now, you can become a millionaire. And it's not about the money. That's the thing that's so great, because you can lose the money and get it back. Yay, right? Because the philosophies, this is what I learned, the philosophies, if you'll pick up the philosophies, you can apply it in different seasons of your life and find success, okay? So that's why I'm here. They haven't written me a big check for coming here today. I'm here because I'm passionate about this. I really, really am. I was telling my wife last night, we went out to get tacos. It was on the wall, it said, every day is Taco Tuesday, right? And so I was telling her as we were pulling out, I was like, I'm going here tomorrow. It's Super Bowl Sunday, right? And I'm getting my 4, and we're going to fly to Tulsa. And I'm pumped. I'm excited. I said, you just got to keep in your mind that I'm going to be gone all day. You're going to have to deal with these wild boys. Because we have an 11-year-old and a 4-year-old who has the strength and energy of 10 men. And one little bitty bit. I'm not even joking, right? He gets it from his mother. It's his mom. Anyways, so I said, just imagine that I'm going away for a guy's weekend. We're just gonna go have fun. Just imagine it like that while you're dealing with the boys, because this is fun to me. This is fun to me. I think the value for me is that I'm hopeful. That's why I gave you my card. That's my personal cell phone. I'm hopeful that in the days to come, you'll be texting me ideas that you have, thoughts, philosophies that you're applying to your life, right? And then maybe 3, 4, 5 years from now, Jay, I made my first $250,000. I am not joking, right? If you don't believe that about yourself, that is my goal, is that when you leave here today, something will strike a nerve with you and you say, hey, wait a minute, I am capable of that, right? So there you go. That's why we're here, okay? So let me open up my iPad. Here's my son, by the way. That's London. That's London. This is our brand, London J Apparel. And I'm not going to plug that today. Don't worry about that. Anyway, so if you have your notes, well, let's start here. Let me go around the table and ask, what did you want to be when you were a kid? Doctor?
Mom.
Nice.
I wanted to be rich.
Okay, I like that answer.
I wanted to be an optometrist.
Okay. Still time. Joel? Oh, that's Joel. Preacher, okay. Lawyer, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't, okay.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a dentist. I could see myself being a dentist.
Oh, okay, okay.
I like teeth.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Hugo?
I don't know, successful person.
Successful person, okay. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a Christian musician, right? I told my mom when I was 5 that I wanted to be a preacher, that I was going to be a preacher. And so at 40, am I 44? Dad, I'm 44. I can look back at that and say, you know what? I did it. Yay! I can remember dancing around my room. Specifically, it's so vivid to me, dancing around my room and just imagining myself, seeing myself on the stage in front of thousands of people. And it came true, it came reality. We were in this music group that I was a part of. We were in Holland. And we were on this stage. It was the first time we'd ever been on a stage in front of 10,000 or more people, right? And so I looked at one of my group mates, he's a high school friend, close friend, and we looked at each other and looked, I was like, what? We did it, right? And so I'm hopeful that you will somehow look, like right now from where you are, look forward and say, this is what I want to become, right? Because that's the basis of my whole speech today and my whole philosophy is, I got this from Jim Rohn, one of my mentors from the grave. He says, you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Let me say that one more time. You can have, you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. So the first question I wanted to just kind of throw out to start this day out is, how did we get here? And I won't go around and ask you that. I guess since I flew in from not from Tulsa, Lord, no, flew in from Texas. I'll start. How do we get here? So our family is from Detroit, Michigan. Musicians all through our lineage. We moved to Tulsa in 1984, I believe it was, because it was during the time of Michael Jackson Thriller. How many of you remember that time? Okay. Anyway, I can remember I was on the playground one time and I was about to get in a fight. This is crazy. I was about to get in a fight with another kid, and because there was a lot of racist stuff that was going on in Tulsa at that time, and Beat It came on. I could hear it in the background. So it turned into like a dance fight. It was crazy. 1984 was a crazy time, y'all. Anyway, sorry that sidetrack. But we came to Tulsa and we got involved in the church world. My parents were both ministers. And so I kind of grew up around all of that. And so I saw ministry at a really, really high level. And so that made an impression on me. Like I said, I wanted to be a Christian musician, and so started out on that journey when I was 16 years old. I was a backup dancer for a Christian hip hop group called ETW. So I toured around the country with ETW, dancing and doing hip hop, right? And so along that time, I was teaching hip hop dance. And so even from that early age, I started teaching dance around here in Tulsa. Just because I have this entrepreneur's mind. I went to LA to teach dance, hip hop dance. I went to New York to teach hip hop dance. This is from little bitty old Tulsa, right? And so that was a part of my journey. Then I started the music group. We got signed to a record deal with a company in the United Kingdom. We went over there and sold a bunch of records, had a good success there. That led to a record deal here in America. The group took off here in America. I think we had somewhere between like 8 and 10 top 10 hits, a couple number one hits in Christian music. And so that was pretty cool. Then I made a mistake and lost it all, blew it. So that's a side note. We won't go into that right now, but lost everything and then had an incredible opportunity to start over. Okay. And so in the process of starting over, I discovered that the same gifts I had that made me successful in the music industry could make me or help me to become successful in the kind of entrepreneur world. Okay, so I got involved in internet marketing. Have you ever heard of internet marketing? Okay, got involved in internet marketing, helped grow this company and discovered that I had a gift for inspiring people. And so raised up a sales team and just an incredible time of growth for me, right? And so learned all this great stuff, and that was from 26 to 36. Then at 36, the economy crashed. Yay! So this big business that we had built, it started spiraling down. We couldn't figure out when it was going to stop. We lost our house. We lost our cars. We lost pretty much everything. And so we didn't go bankrupt, but pretty dang close. Pretty close, all right? And so I don't know if you've ever experienced that kind of loss before, but it's hard. It's very hard to feel hopeful that there will be a brighter day, right? And so the reason I explain it to you that way is just to hopefully, if you are in that place right now, or if you find yourself in that place down the future, I want you to remember my voice. I want you to text me at that number. I've had that number since like 2001, so I'm assuming I'm going to have it for a while, right? And so I'm hopeful that you hear my voice saying, look up and take the next step, keep going, right? So that being said, we moved to Texas, and it wasn't under very good circumstances. So we lived with my mom for a little bit. How many of you ever lived with your mom and that doesn't work out very well? Okay, did that. Then we ended up living for 5 months in a bedroom of a 2-year-old. Me and my wife and a 4-year-old. Yay! So we go through this whole process of figuring out what in the world are we doing here. I end up as a hospice chaplain, had some success at that. Then out of that experience, we ended up starting a nonprofit organization that is right now working to bring churches into places where people have Alzheimer's and dementia, using music as a tool for that. So we started that business. That grew, and I think it did or $250,000 in revenue, right? Okay, so then in the process of doing that, we came back to this idea. My wife had this idea for a clothing line called London J Apparel. She had the idea back in 2012. And so here we are 2010. And then so here we are 2016. She starts doing a few things and selling these little baby moccasins. And she comes in, I'm cleaning, I'm washing the dishes. She comes in and says, I think we can make $50,000 at this. Just an idea, right? If we sell this many of this and this many of that, I think we can. Dadgummit, we did it. Right? So in half a year, we did like $86,000 in sales online. The next year, we did $500,000. This year, we'll do over $1 million. What? Now, again, mind you, from where we came from to where we've arrived in that short amount of time, it's my philosophy. It's our philosophy. And so I'm hopeful that right now you'll start to re-examine your philosophy. Because again, like this thing says here, you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. That was the key for me. In every one of those scenarios that I just described to you, in order to achieve a level of success that was beyond where I was, it required of me to become more than I was, right? So when we were running this medical business here in Tulsa, I just started off as a sales manager. I was one of the minor partners, and I was the sales manager. So we grew that team, but as a part of growing that team, I'd never done sales management before. I learned a lot from Lisa's dad, from my uncle, but actual truly training people to get them to make sales, right? I had to become more than I was. So what I do, I started reading. Write this down. You have to feed to succeed. You have to feed to succeed, right? In order for me to become a sales manager that could take a sales team from 5 people to 20 people, from I think the first year we did $3 million in sales revenue. By the end of that deal, we were doing 8 to 9 million in sales revenue. We had 3 locations. It turned into a big deal, right? In order for me to go from the sales manager, they made me the president of that company. I had to feed. There was so much I didn't know. I didn't go to college. I started the music thing and I never went to college. So what was I going to do? In order to succeed, I had to feed myself. And so I discovered for me how I feel, because I don't like to read, everybody, sorry. You too? I hope that doesn't make me a bad person. I just don't. And so for me, the tool that I use to feed myself is YouTube. There's so much information out there. You can just do a search for what you're trying to learn, and you can find so much. And so in that season of my life, I began to feed myself the information about what it takes to be a good sales manager. How do you inspire people, talented people, to be better than they are, right? So I just fed myself, fed. And that's how I became successful at that, right? But then when it was time to become the president of the company, right? And got 60 employees, and that's not a lot, but it's more than I ever did. I was just a kid from Akron. No, that's LeBron James. I had no experience in that. But my business partner and my mentor, he saw something in me. And I'm looking at you right now, and I see something. I don't even know you yet, Hugo, but I believe that there's great value in each one of you, and you probably can become more successful than anyone else in your family. Do you believe that? Yeah. Don't lie. I hope you believe it, because the reality is true. But there has to be a mentality shift in your head that I can and I will feed to succeed. There was a time in that business, the medical business, where we're having all this success, and my business partner, he was struggling, going through a lot of stuff. And one of the things that we talked about is what we were feeding ourselves. Because sometimes you can get in a rut. Have you ever been in a rut? I don't care how successful you are. You can get in a rut. And I've learned that to get out of that rut, oftentimes you have to examine, what am I feeding myself? What am I feeding myself? I wrote this down. You have to be honest with yourself, or nothing I share with you will be of any value for your future. I write this down.
Can you repeat that again?
Yes. You have to be honest with yourself, or nothing I share with you will be of any value for your future. Here's the deal. These concepts, these philosophies, as I get into the philosophy portion of my talk, they're like seeds, right? A lot of this stuff, I've kind of learned and experienced, but they're like seeds that get implanted into your soul if you allow it. And what I found is that seed can be watered by what you feed yourself. It's really, really important that you pay attention to what you're feeding yourself. One man, I don't know if you want to look this guy up, he cusses a lot. He says, "Show me your friends and I'll show you your future."
I don't believe that. But why? Because I have friends, different kinds of friends.
Yeah.
Just because some are a certain way doesn't I didn't turn out to be the way they are.
Right. I agree with that. Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
I think it kind of depends on the type of person you are. Like Benita, I think you're more of an influencer.
Yeah.
But some people are easily influenced.
Yeah.
So it just depends on like what end of the spectrum you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
Yeah.
you're gonna be you wherever you go. Like, I'm Benita. I like this, and if you don't, whatever. Well, Benita says this. So I don't know. I think that it just depends on who you are.
Right. Anybody else?
I believe in some people being leaders and some being followers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I've always been embedded in every job I've had.
Yeah.
You could be a leader, you could be a follower.
Uh-huh.
And so
Yeah. Anyone else? No pressure.
I would say probably too depends on the level of friendship, right? Like there's acquaintances, right?
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
And then there's really close, intimate friends.
Yeah.
And those really close, intimate friends, I would agree with that statement. If you look at your really close and intimate friends, there's going to be a mirroring effect. that
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's totally true.
And
Totally
so-
true. Yeah. I've learned that because I agree with that statement, but then I feel the way you do. Because I'm an influencer too. But as you start to climb level, as you start to level up, as the kids say, as you start to level up, you'll find that your close friends, if all they want to do is play video games, is all they want to do is do things that are counterproductive to you leveling up, you will find that if you're not an influencer, that it could affect just slightly, even a little bit, your ability to accomplish all that you are capable of accomplishing. I have very few friends right now because for me, I've got something that I'm aiming for. My closest friend is my wife. Reason being is because my wife will outwork me if I let her. Whole girl is serious. She is serious, right? And so there's this thing that's going on between us right now. I mean, we'll be, kind of taking a break or whatever. I'll see you over there working. I'm like, oh, okay. There's something about that synergy of the closest people to you. If they are not determined to become all that they can become, if you let them too close, you do have, if you're not an influencer, there is the possibility that you could be sidetracked, that you could miss out on some of the opportunities. See, I'm an opportunity guy. I look for, I see things in terms of opportunity. What am I going to miss out on if I don't chase after everything that I can become? That's what this is about, right? From where we are now to where we're trying to go, the people that you're around, they do affect your thinking ever so slightly. And that's dangerous, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, just talking with, friends, and it's like if they So, for instance, you said that, I believe that everyone in this room has the ability to become a millionaire. Well, if you've got somebody around you that's like, oh, well, millionaires are corrupt. And
Right. Yeah.
then, say you believed that you could become a millionaire, but then you've got people in your ear that are like,
Doubters.
bad-mouthing,
Yeah.
people who have great wealth, then I do feel like you can spend more time processing what they said instead of going after
What you're capable of. Yeah.
So I think we all agree that there's some truth to it, but there, could be some exceptions.
Right.
Probably more people who are not exceptions to
Right.
that principle.
Yeah.
It's just a thought.
Yeah, this is a great thought because I wrote this down too. So many people, most people, are short-sighted. Extraordinarily short-sighted and cannot see that what you do today, who you're around today, it does affect where you're going, where you're trying to go. Okay, so try this. Let's say you replaced your closest friends with people who were dead set on becoming everything that they can become. Let's say that everybody around this table says, I'm going to become everything that I believe I can become. What difference would that make in your life if that's what you were around most of the time? That's why I feel like this investment in your lives is so valuable. Because what if every time you came to work, your coworker's got a book about how to get there? Every time you come to work, the person next to you, when they're off, they're not watching YouTube about, my mom watches Scandal, that TV show. We were talking about that, all right? Right. Instead of watching Scandal, they were watching videos about how to invest. So if your close inner circle becomes that for a season of time, right? What difference would that make in how far you could go? You can set your standards low if you want to, but I'm telling you, you could probably achieve more than what you've even imagined if you will expose yourself to people who are on that journey. And there's something, the Bible talks about that, iron sharpens iron, right? Have you ever heard that before? Iron sharpens, it's in the book, it's good. But there's something about when you're around people who just wanna be. Write this down. Everybody should be a wannabe. It's just my opinion. We should all want to be more than we are. And again, my mentor from the grave, Jim Rohn, he said, it's not about the money. There's more things in life that are of value. Family is great value, right? Relationship, deep, intimate relationships of value. It's hard to measure those, though. It's hard to measure how good that is. Money or success it's only a measuring stick, right? It's the only way. It's one of the only values that you can measure. And so again, I don't want to just get tied up in the millionaire status or the billionaire status. It's not really about that, right? Because at the end of the day, like my man Kobe, man, I've had a hard week, y'all. I've had a hard week. Like one of my best friends died. I'm gonna keep it real. Me and my wife, we both it's been a heavy week. So $500,000. $500,000. And that value, it's gone, right? And so it's not about the money. I'm just saying, if we're gonna be here, we might as well become all that we can, right? Because I promise you, I've been poor. We've been real poor before, right? And I'll say this. When I go to Sam's and I see the cart guy, I think, wow, that was me. I was a cart guy. When I see the door greeter at Costco, I think, wow, that was me. I was a door greeter. I was one of the most celebrated door greeters at Sam's here in Tulsa. You see, but I've always had the same tenacity, no matter what I was doing, right? And so those trying to take that same tenacity, that same, I believe there's more for me. For the gifting that's inside of me, I think there's more. Do you honestly, do you believe that where you are right now is the sum? How do I say this? Do the talent that's inside of you, is it affording you the lifestyle you feel like you deserve for that talent? Okay, so, let me say it this way, Hugo. That was hard. I can't even get my head around that myself, right? But, right. The talent that was in my man Kobe, because it's fresh on my heart. The talent that was in that man's body, right? If he did not achieve what he achieved, one might say that he did not realize his full potential because it was inside of him. But as I've been watching these videos this week, that man worked. He worked, right? And so that whole Mamba mentality deal, it's like really fresh for me, but that's legit. That's for real. And I feel like it's applicable to us. And so, again, it's not about the money. It's about what it will make of us to become it. Okay, so next section, goal setting, right? Let's write this down. Goal setting. Your goals. What are your goals? Do you know what your goals are? That's a deep question, isn't it? Jim Rohn, I keep saying this man's name. He's been dead for a long time. But he said his mentor said to him when he was 25, he said, show me your list of your goals. And he said, I don't have any. He said, well, is it outside in your car? Is it at home? He said, no, I don't have any. And he said, that's where we've got to start. He said, if you don't have a list of goals, I can guess your bank balance. That's what he said to him. And he said he did. And he said, that's when I became a willing student. Goal setting. In my opinion, we have to set goals that will stretch us, right? There's a danger in setting your goals too low, right? If you set your goals at where your parents are, if you set your goals at, you can't set your goals. Let me just say bluntly, you can't set your goals too low. Right? So, in my opinion, it's worth your attention and your time to really develop your goals, your list of goals, right? You can start at the big ones, but very, very quickly, it's my opinion that you got to start setting your short-term goals so that you can start accomplishing things, right? Because it builds momentum. Does that make sense? Yeah. Whatever those goals are, you got to write them down. There's a scripture verse in the Bible that my dad showed me a long time ago, and it's changed my life. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables and tablets, so he may run that readeth it. Habakkuk 2:2. Very, very, I'm not sure everybody reads that book in the Bible. But look it up. It's there. Write the vision and make it plain upon tables and tablets, so he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but in the end it will speak and not lie. Can you believe I can remember that? The reason I can is because I've been writing it at the top of my plans for 25 years. I can go back through my notepads and see ideas that I had, visions I had, right? I wrote down a list of producers that I wanted to work with. Ding, ding, ding. Got it. There's like even now with what we're doing, my wife and I will get together and we'll use a board or we'll use a piece of paper. And we'll write down these ideas. Okay, we want to launch a floral line. Okay, about a year and a half ago, we wanted to. She had this idea to start a sock line. Right? Sock line. Writing the vision down, it does something to you. So you can't write down. I get excited about this stuff. You've got to have visions that pull you up, right? A couple years ago, we set this crazy, Joel and I, we set this crazy vision, right? I had this idea, man, what if we got Bass Hall, downtown Fort Worth, right? It's like 11 grand to rent this place. What if we got Bass Hall and we invited all these memory care facilities from all over Dallas, Fort Worth to bus in their people to Bass Hall for a big Christmas concert? What a crazy idea. That's nuts from where we were. And we set a timeline to it, right? So we locked it into Christmas. That's it. Write this down. Make sure your goals are time locked. Make sure your goals are time locked because that does something to you. It puts an urgency on you. So here you go. Here it is, Miss Benny. Is it Benny? Benny. Okay, yeah. If you hang around with people who don't set goals, but more importantly, if you hang around with people who don't meet their goals, hit their goals, it will affect you. You're always being affected. Don't be fooled. You will always be. We are people that are affected. Why do you think they use emotion to sell you everything you've got? We are affected, right? Why am I going to rush home to watch the Super Bowl? Because the stories, they get inside your heart. Why have I been sad all week long? I've been watching this man play basketball for 20 years. I'm affected, right? And so now when I go back and watch his videos about his philosophy, I'm affected even more, right? So what if everybody around this table in your workplace, in your group, had that kind of mentality that I will become all that I am capable of becoming? I will. And you start setting goals, and you start hitting goals, right? Within your workplace, it will affect you, right? I like I just mentioned to you, I was a cart guy at Sam's, 61st and Mingo, right? 70%. Is it 7? I'm pretty sure it's by Union High School?
It's 70%.
You're right, my bad. You're right. I haven't lived here in a while. But I was a cart guy. Look where we've come. It's crazy to even imagine that. I don't think it would have been possible to get to where we are now, to where 5 days of the week, I just wake up without an agenda. I'm not going to nobody's office. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying, if that's what you want to do, you do you. But me, I didn't want to go to nobody's cubicle. I didn't want to go to nobody's office. That's just what I wanted. Me and my wife wanted to work together. We set a goal, right? 5 days of the week, I get up and I think, what am I going to do today? I've got my list of goals and I run after it. Now, here's the thing. Every step is a building block. You got to write that down, right? Every step, every job is okay, here's another thing. Oh gosh, this stuff is so great, right? Jim Rohn he said, because you work for somebody right now, right? And that's okay. We all work for somebody, really, because I work for my customers, right? He said, what is that statement? He says, the important thing about the job is not what you get from the job. Oh, wait. Did I write this down? Please tell me you wrote this down, brother. It's what you're becoming. at the job you work. It's what you're becoming. It's not what you get from it, right? A lot of people, they go to work, I'm getting $10 an hour. Woohoo! Oh, they're going to give me $15 an hour? Woohoo! No, that's not it. What are you becoming in the job that you're working right now? What skills are you picking up in the job where you are? I'm saying to you, I wake up 5 days a week and don't have to go nowhere and do nothing. That's bad English. But because every job that I worked, I picked up a skill. The skills that I picked up have put us in the position to do what we do right now. It's incredible. Every job that I worked, and I think this is a God thing. I believe that way, right? I believe God orchestrated that way. But every job that I worked, I picked up a skill that I'm now utilizing to live the lifestyle that we live right now, right? We have set a goal for our brand to become $1 billion brand, right? That kind of crazy, insane goal from where we came from, my wife went to Webster, right? So I'm saying that kind of goal, it pulls you up. What would it take to become that? So that's what we wake up with. Because when you get wealthy, you can lay back and just be lazy, right? But we've set a goal that's so far outside of what we can naturally accomplish, just waking up, just doing stuff, that it's pulling us up. It's driving us even more. I'm telling you, if you'll start with that mentality right now where you are, number one, what it will do for you, but what it will do to the person next to you, the synergy that can be created within your workplace could be exhilarating and push you into more of the lifestyle that you really want, right? That makes sense? Yeah. I do Orange Theory. Have you ever heard of Orange Theory? It's a workout program, okay? So I go 3 to 4 times a week. So yesterday, there was about 30 people in this one class, okay? And so I was sick the week before. And so I got into the class, and I'm like, man, I'm just going to try to get through the first part of this deal. I'm on a treadmill running, and there's a lady next to me. She's pregnant, and she's huffing. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute, hold up. Hey, what? I'm getting passed up by a pregnant lady, a little bitty old pregnant white lady. I'm like, no, bro, no, you ain't getting me, not today. She's pregnant, calm down, man. Isn't that terrible? That's horrible, isn't it? Trying to compete with a pregnant lady is terrible. Anyway, but I'm telling you, it affected me, who I was next to. So I'm saying to you all, please get a hold of these principles. The people next to you matter. They matter. I would encourage you to write a list, write them down. Who's spending, you may have to start subtracting some time. It's important. Yeah. It's important. If you have a goal to become more than you are, right? If you want more out of this life, in the end, it all goes away. We can't take any of it with us. Right? But while we're here, there are certain values, there are certain things that we can accomplish. I feel like it gives us the opportunity to be more generous, gives us the opportunity to be, because that's where we are right now, gives us an opportunity to really take care of our kids in a way that maybe we couldn't, right? And maybe in a way that our parents weren't able to do for us. And so, that was a thing for us. It's one of the things, our why. One of our whys. If you don't have a why, this is important. You might want to write this down. What is my why? Why do I want to be successful? Because here's the deal. This sounds really, really crass and very, very terrible. But every now and again, you've got to take a why bath. Every now and again, some mornings, you've got to get up and you got to take that why and wash up. Especially in your brain. The why bath. Why am I doing this? Why am I getting up and getting dressed to the nines to go in to work at Cheapest Auto Insurance? Why am I reading this book to become the best employee that they've ever had? Why am I trying to win every award they set out? Why am I trying to win every contest they set up? Right? So your why that you associate has to be really, really strong, right? So your goals have to be extremely high and your why has to be really strong. If your why is too weak, you will falter. Because there's too many days where you get up and you go in and it's like, oh God, here we go. Oh man, Rob is on something today, God. Oh, come on, Rob, Dad, right? So if your why is not strong enough, you will go in and you will be less than you're capable of. Every day matters. It stacks together, right? So for us, our parents, both of our parents are ministers. And so it's not like we can expect a great inheritance or anything like that. It's just, they didn't give us that. They gave us other things of value, right? And so we're grateful for that. We're thankful for that. But I feel like because they gave us what they gave us, I think we have an opportunity to give our children more, right? Because we're standing on the shoulders of our parents. My parents, oh, this is a funny story. We came to Oklahoma on a Greyhound bus with a vacuum cleaner. That's not a lie. That's not for dramatics. That's the truth, right? So my dad, my mom, my older brother, me, my little brother Jeremy, and a vacuum cleaner and some bags got on a Greyhound bus. Come on, right?
You have to explain that one. I can't wonder about that forever.
I know. So my mom likes it clean. My mom likes it clean. No matter where she is, she likes it clean. My mom moved in with us right now, and so we're in this incredible position where both of my mom and my wife's mom, they both work for a couple of the businesses that we have. And so incredible opportunity to be able to be that. But my wife was walking in the garage after working out, and my mom's vacuum cleaner sitting in the garage. She said, Marcy, is that your vacuum out there? She brought it with her. Oh my gosh, it's so great. It's so great. So back to the deal. We were again back to that crazy meeting that we had with the financial planner at the end of 2018. We come to this place where we have been able to start funds for our sons. And so every month we deposit money into a fund. One's 11 and one's 4. And so every month a sum of money gets deposited into an investment for them so that either when they're ready to go to college or it can be for a down payment on a house, one of those two things. And so that is part of our why, and it's strong. It's really strong. And so I got to make that payment every month, right? And so it's like it's pulling me forward. It's pulling me up. Setting that kind of goal it just changes the way you think. It changes who you associate with. It just changes things. And so again, if I can impress upon you anything, these are two of the main ones, right? Your goals, set your goals really, really high. Set the kind of goals that will make you something, that make you become something that you aren't currently. Write your friends down. Write your goals down. Make them plain. And write those friends down. Checking the list and checking it twice. Right? It's good. That's why I hang out with people like my brother back here, Joel. He gets stuff done. So that concludes that part of my thoughts, because then the next conversation we'll be about the wannabe philosophy. Okay, questions, go.
Well, this is more of like just a comment. I appreciate you for sharing that, and I like feel free. Like our heart is for everybody in here, even though you're working at Cheapest Auto Insurance. Like our heart is for you to have more, to be more, want to accomplish more than just working at Cheapest Auto Insurance. So because I'm here, don't feel. Jamark and anybody else, don't feel like you can't like share what your goal is past that. Like
Yeah.
that's our heart's desire. Is for you guys. That's why we're doing this. It's for you guys to whatever vision that is, for you to catch that vision of what is greater than where I'm at right now, whether it's at Cheapest Auto Insurance or if it's elsewhere.
Yeah.
And our heart is that it's elsewhere. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like I would love to be selfish and say I want to keep you forever because you're such great team members, but that would be selfish. That
Yeah.
would be a person that maybe I see you guys with so much inside of you. And I feel like that would be irresponsible and maybe
Yeah.
not a good leader.
Yeah.
That I would want to hold you back from
Yeah.
whatever dreams and desires and goals that you have personally. And so take the lid off.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm here, even though Elisa's here, don't let that put a lid on your thinking.
Yeah.
Or as we go into Q&A, don't let that put a lid on your desire to express that, hey, one day, you know what? I want to go out and do my own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like that's
Celebrated.
yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Like, and it's bittersweet, of course,
Yeah.
but I can say that because I love you guys.
Yeah.
You know, I love you guys, and I'm not gonna tear up.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm about to.
Yeah.
I'm not, but that's where we're at. So I just wanted to get that out there. Hopefully, I communicated and articulated well what was in my heart because
Yeah,
it was
you did.
strong, and you guys
And we
got
love
it.
you too.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I appreciated when you said that when we did the interview.
Yeah.
That this is not where you're set. It's just a building block
Yeah.
so you can move forward. I
Yeah.
appreciate that because it is hard. You're like, so I need to move on to something else now,
Yeah.
and they're just like, why are you leaving? You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
So when I ask you guys, and we have individuals, and I say, "Hey, what's your 3-year goal?"
Mm-hmm.
And I ask you guys that question, like you don't have to be afraid that that's gonna freak me out when you tell me, "Well, Rob, I want to go and start my own insurance agency,"
Yeah.
or "Rob, I want to do this," or "What I want to go and start my own business where I can help have my own family work for me."
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's not gonna freak me out. I'm gonna get excited for you. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. I would want to see you go.
Mm-hmm.
But I would want to do whatever I can do to help prepare
Right.
you
Yep.
to go out and be successful and do and accomplish and fulfill that dream. And so, anyway.
Good.
Is it okay if we like ask questions?
Yeah, that's it. That's what. Open it up now. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, I think it would just be good to kind of hear some feedback, to kind of hear where things are landing that he's sharing, and I would just love to hear like what is y'all's why in life? Like what gets you going? What makes you get out of bed when you went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning? I know it's not every day, but like what is? Yeah, just want to hear from y'all. Like what gets you going?
I'm always last. Like I've always shared with him, to me, my wife, my kids, my family.
Yeah.
That's my priority.
Mm-hmm. How many kids do you have?
3 boys.
3 boys. What are their ages?
18, 16, well, yeah, 16, 16,
Wow.
and 9.
18, 16, and 9. Okay.
They're good kids too.
They are.
They are my wife.
There you go. Okay, got it. What do you want for them?
I want school,
Yes.
like college, because I didn't go to college.
Ah, yes.
Doing good.
That's great.
Kleenex.
That's great. That's great. Okay.
I just, I'm from a loving family. I didn't grow up with a dad,
Oh,
and I want for them what I didn't have.
got
Yeah.
it. Mhm.
So everything that I do is for them, and what I don't do sometimes is
Ah,
for them.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good, Irene.
Can I ask you a deeper question?
Mhm.
How much does it cost for them to go to college?
How much does it cost?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, I just have a son that graduated, and
Wow.
I know he wants to go to college.
You
but
do?
I feel like he's holding back because he doesn't want that burden on us.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Got it. All right.
So, yep.
Okay. It's good. I think that, thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah.
She went
You-
first. I know. She went first.
Yeah. I think that the reason I asked that question is because that's one of those the behind the whys. Oh, I need to write that down. You know, I think it's important that you know what it's going to cost. If that is your why, I think there's an opportunity to go deeper into that and set that goal and monetize that goal, because like you just said, there's certain things that you do and you don't do to get to that goal, right? So maybe it's not for the 18-year-old. Maybe there's a different, you have to approach that a little bit different because you're not there yet. But as far as the 9-year-old is concerned, as far as the 16-year-old is concerned, maybe that begins to guide some of the decisions that you make for goal setting to make it, to see, for us together to check that off our list. Does that make sense?
Yep, I see that.
Yeah. That's good. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Boy, that pumped me all the way up. God, dog. That's good. Anybody else? Any other questions or thoughts or jokes? Keep them
What's
clean.
your why? Yeah.
Or what's your why?
I think as a mom, your whys are always your kids.
Yeah.
You know, you just put yourself on hold to raise them. I have 2 kids. I have a 15-year-old and I have a 3-year-old. So I'm juggling between teenage life and toddler life. And it's hard, you know, but, you know, they're my motivation.
Okay.
You know, and I think everything that I do is for them.
Yeah.
And throughout my life, I think that my goals have always been, you know, set high, and every time I've achieved them, you know, even though it's cost sacrifice, you know, like I want to buy a house, and so I just work hard and get there. You know, it's just so satisfying.
Yeah.
You know, when you have that feeling,
Yes.
because sometimes you'll have people that will aid you in going there, and some people will be like, well, what is she doing that she's buying a car or house? Because I've been criticized, you know.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They're like, well, what is she doing that she got a car? Or what is she doing that she got a house? Well, I work. You know? I work. You know, I work hard. I sacrifice time with my kids. You
Yeah.
know, but just the end feeling of just feeling accomplished
Yeah.
and knowing that I did it the right way, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it just makes it all worth all the the criticizing and all that, you know.
Yeah.
And the word synergy has always stuck in me.
What's that word?
Synergy.
Synergy.
I
Okay.
think you use it right now.
Uh-huh.
And I think, you know, whenever I got the opportunity to manage Cheapest Auto, like our retail team,
Yeah.
I don't know if they remember, but I always use that word because that's a word that my previous boss used to use a lot. Like, you
Yeah.
know, you have to surround yourself with positive synergy.
Yeah.
You know, so I would always tell them, you know, if you have problems at home, just walk in the door and just smile, because we all do. And, you know, if you're having a good day, you're going to rub on your neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're having a bad day, you're going to bring us all down, you know. So just leave it out the door, talk about it, but don't come in with a negative mentality, because it's just going to make your whole day, you know, just be negative.
That's
you know?
right.
And then if you were feeling that way and the other person came in with a good attitude, then they're just going to feel the same way you are.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? So that word, I like that word.
Yeah. Synergy.
You know,
Synergy.
and sometimes you just have to control your feelings. You can control your feelings, because feelings are temporary.
Right.
You know, they're not there to stay. And if you're feeling down, just change it around.
Yeah.
You know, and do something that'll make you happy.
Yeah.
So yeah. So my big why are my kids.
Okay.
you know?
Got it. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what's driving you.
That's what drives me
Okay.
every day.
Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else? Rob.
Yeah, you know, I think my why for sure is I think for me, a big breakthrough moment that consistently happens for me every so often is getting an understanding of my value and my worth. You know, I was in a situation like you. I grew up. My father was killed when I was 2 years old, so I grew up without a dad, and I felt like for most of my early life, into college and into early adulthood, that affected my how I saw myself. You know, I felt like there was a what's the word for it? It's escaping me now, but it was like a insecurity. There was an insecurity that I had that affected almost. It seemed like it permeated into every aspect of my life.
Yeah.
And it held me back from really going after things and really developing and walking into manifesting that full potential that I knew I always had inside of me because of that insecurity. And so as I began to experience what it was like to live life without that, I felt like my why in a way, I felt like it was stolen from me. And because it was stolen from me, my why became giving that to other people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, that's why I wrote that book, Fatherless to Fulfill, because I was like, I want to give that to other people that maybe have that same insecurity from living without a father. I want to tell them, hey, it was stolen from you, but you got it.
Yeah.
Like, you got the good, and you can get it back. Like, you can let that insecurity go, and just letting that go into every area, not just, you know, growing up without a father, people that grew up without a father, but also just in life in general, people that struggle with insecurities that relate to their value. A lot of times it's because people are afraid of rejection because they've been rejected before. And so we're afraid to do things authentic to us because we are afraid that we will be rejected.
Right.
And so just getting an understanding that you're amazing, you know, for who you are, irregardless of your performance, you're amazing. And let that confidence and that security that you are amazing drive you to have an incredible performance.
Right.
Right? Because performance does matter, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It doesn't dictate who we are, but it does matter. And so I feel like that's one of the things that that drives me is being able to for my life, find that balance of understanding my value and going after that exceptional performance. And if I do, you know, have a poor performance, because it's not always perfect, right?
Right.
So I've been developing that understanding of, hey, if I do have a poor performance, that doesn't mean I need to turn down the value of my value.
Okay,
right?
internally.
Internally.
Got
right?
it.
Value
Got it.
stays cranked up regardless of performance, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I can be honest with myself, and I can say, okay, I sucked today, and not be damned, and not beat myself up, but to be honest and say, you know what, I really did stink it up. What can I do to get better in this area? Okay, let me be honest with myself. What can I do to improve in this area? And still crank it up every day. And so that gets me excited, because I'm like, if I can do that for myself, I can do that for others, and that's my why. First with like my family, and then with every person I come in contact with.
Got it.
Whether that's in work, whether that's, you know, customers we interact with, or whatever. So.
That's good. Okay. Thank you, Rob. That's good. Anyone else? Bueller? Bueller? It's a movie, sorry. A movie quote.
You like you ready?
No. I'm kicking it all in. I'm listening.
That's good.
I don't know.
Ugo, what you got, brother?
I would say what my why is mainly for myself as well, you know, for me, and I just, you know, try to do the best every day and just go the extra mile in everything I do, and like Rob said, you know, sometimes you just don't get to that, but you always got a new tomorrow, and then you always got to push yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of same situation. You know, I grew up without a father too, and
Oh,
you know,
okay.
it just
Wow.
just me and my mom, and
Mm-hmm.
mainly, you know, my grandma is the one that she raised me my first 4 years of my life, and
Okay.
because my mom has to work and
Yeah.
you know stuff.
Mhm.
So between my grandparents and my aunts, they're the ones that take care of me, you know. And
Yep.
I grew up with that mentality of always, you know, no matter what situations in life later on, when I become an adult, I always gonna be responsible.
Yeah.
Take care,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
business and do everything like supposed to, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what encouraged me and drives me
That's good.
to go
Keep going. Keep moving.
forward.
Okay. How many of you have ever owned a business? Rob, Lise, okay. Not, yeah, okay. I would say if you haven't written that down as a goal, you should. To become a business owner. And beyond that, a successful business owner. Right? There is I would, you know how you've heard that statement before, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
Right.
I would wish successful business ownership upon you.
And I think all we in here, we have that mentality.
You do.
I mean, we all know that.
Yeah, you've got that.
Nobody want to speak it, but
Right.
we all got that on our mind.
You want to be that.
And
Okay.
we all want to be that.
What
Okay.
kind of business would you own?
That's good question.
I mean, an insurance agency is not out of my question because, of course, you know, I've been through that 10 years.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's what, you know, I become good at it, and I know how to run and everything.
Yeah.
Still need to learn more stuff as become.
What do you think you need to learn? Because there it is. Ding, 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 ding. What do you think you need to learn?
I would say I need to learn more the behind the scene.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Like, you know, internal books and,
Mhm.
you know,
Financing part and.
Yeah.
the financing parts and all the other stuff, you know, because on the outside of things, like customer-wise and everything, I mean, I got everything. I mean, that doesn't mean I still need to improve, you know, always.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know,
You're good.
He is good.
His all. I mean, every customer that comes in, he knows him by name.
Is that right?
He's a great customer. And he remembers like things about them
Yeah.
and their family.
Yeah.
Which makes us look bad.
Ah.
When I go cover for him, they're like, "You don't know me?" I'm like, "No." You know? I'm Jose with the white truck. I'm like, no bells are ringing out.
Wait, no bells. Not ringing any bells.
They just expect for me to know who they are because
This guy.
knows who they are.
This guy.
Yeah.
So you're setting the standard in that way. You like it? I love it, man. It's incredible.
Is there any other businesses that would, tickle your fancy?
I would say that would probably be the main thing. On the second thing that I've been thinking about it is like the, like entertainment business, like, DJ, since I know a little bit, and then,
DJ too.
and then
Is that right?
Yeah.
decorating places,
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
maybe own one or two places to rent for parties and stuff.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
On like a couple venues is what you're
Mhm.
gonna. Okay. That's
Yeah,
great.
you go for 4, baby. Go for 4. Get 4. That kind of goal will keep you up at night.
Straight up.
I think the thing that I've learned on my journey is that when I have this sort of stuff going on in the back of my head, it fuels me for what I'm doing now, right? Here's another thing. My dad gave this to me. You might want to write this down too. Luke 16:10 in the Bible. It says, "Write the no, that's the wrong one. He who was faithful in little is faithful also in much." Boom! That exploded in my life when I was I think I was 16 or 17 years old, and there was an opportunity, the opportunity that I had to go and dance for that rap group, right? A bigger opportunity came up to dance for Carman, right? But I was too young. And because the cutoff age was 18. And so my dad said, you need to be faithful at school. That's where you are right now. And right now, your school is working at Cheapest Auto Insurance or whatever job you're doing, right? So I believe that God watches us be faithful where we are. And oftentimes, it's a building block, but it oftentimes, I believe, opens the door for what's next in our lives, right? When you're faithful, especially it goes on to say in that passage of scripture, if you're faithful with that which is another man's, then you'll be faithful with that which is your own, right? I found that to be true. Where we have arrived, I feel very, very confident in saying to you that it was because we were faithful serving other people, right? Being the best employee, right? Every place I've ever gone, I've been in the employee of the month. Every stop, right? And so I can say with absolute confidence that if that is a part of your DNA, is that I will be the best employee while I'm here, right? While I'm building my tools, while I'm getting everything that I need to get to build that Ford DJ business and the insurance company, I'm saying do all of them, right? How old are you?
I'm 42.
Oh, you got plenty of time, right? Think about that. We got till 75 or something. That's plenty of time, right? So all of that is still in your range, right? And I'm hopeful that you'll get from me that because I'm 45. I keep forgetting. My dad used to do that when I was a kid. I was like, dude, why can't you remember how old you are? Now I'm doing it. It's crazy. Anyway, but you know, it was. I mean, we were basically poor like 3 years ago, right? So I'm just saying that everything that you're learning right now, when the right opportunity comes along, you can maximize it when the right opportunity comes along. And I'm saying even when you're over 40. That's why I'm saying that to you, is because it was we were just trying to figure it out a couple years ago. Right? So this is relatively new for us. We've had successes in different seasons of our lives, but it can change that quick, right? And it can change for you, is what I believe, right? Especially now that we're getting all this information, we're pumping each other up, right? We're creating synergy in the workplace. What if Cheapest Auto Insurance becomes the destination for developing who you want to become, and then you just freaking launch and go get it? Every day you come to work, you're in this synergistic moment where you go home pumped up, ready to spend the next, go home to play with your kids, do that whole deal. But then from 8 to 12, you're on that hustle, on that grind, right? We'll talk about that in the next session. I don't want to give it away, right? That's what I think we can do this, you all. We can do this. I think it's lunchtime. We got 4 minutes. Okay, all right. Okay. So can we keep going with that? The business, I think that's exciting, hearing that. Any other business ideas you got?
I got one.
Go.
So I've been doing insurance for, ever. It feels like probably like 14 years.
Yeah.
But I don't want to work in insurance forever.
Okay. Right.
So my husband's a construction worker.
Yeah.
And I always had this vision of him owning his own business. And he finally it's been about a year that he's been doing his own side jobs, which is better than working his, 9 to 5 or whatever. But I see myself helping him grow his business.
Okay.
I don't want to work.
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah.
I have 2 kids. I have 2 boys. One, my 4-year-old is autistic. So it kind of goes through I don't know how it's gonna be. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's my first one, and so anyways, I want to be at home.
Yeah.
Have my husband.
Out there
do the
hustling.
but I do want to help him. I would do I would enjoy doing paying the the employees and doing all the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I don't
Okay.
want to work.
Okay. Okay, let me give you something real quick. Here, everybody. Right now, brand up. Whatever your idea for a company is, brand it now, right? It'll drive you. Put a name to it. Get a logo, right? Back in 2010, Cynthia had this idea for the company. We named it London J Apparel 9 years ago. Right, 9 years ago. Before it ever was even, before the world changed between 2010 and 2009, right? Amazon came along where you could do what we're doing. Etsy came along, you could do. None of that stuff was even really available at that time. I'm telling you, if you'll brand it up now, it starts a process of thinking. And it's always just going on in the back, right? And so what happens is there's an accumulation of ideas that come together, right? And then when the opportunity is right, bam, you're ready to execute. This is important. If you don't get anything else from me, from my time in your life, brand up. Get the logo, the first logo, scratch it out, right? That is writing down the vision. Does that make sense? So whatever it is, brand up. Start thinking through what you want to offer. You never know when the money's going to come available. You don't know. But if you're not ready, you're not ready, right? This one man, a friend of mine said this statement, stay ready to keep from getting ready. I love that. Stay ready to keep from getting ready. I'm ready now, right? So this brand right here, I mean, I had this idea for this brand for the George Knightley Group, which is our second son's name. And a couple weeks ago, we got our first contract for over $11,000. First one. It was just a stupid idea. I'm just saying, your ideas are worth something. They're valuable, right? Here, look, before we go to the break, the important thing to remember, this is from Jim Rohn. I'll have to send this video to everybody. But you don't get paid for your time. You get paid for your value. You don't get paid for your time. You get paid for your value. How many of you believe that Rob would pay you $1 million a year? He would if he was making $2 billion. If you can bring that kind of value to wherever you are, or better yet, to your business, Hugo, right? Would you pay yourself $1 million a year? Heck yeah. Right? If you're bringing that kind of value to the marketplace, the market will pay you what your value is. How do you drive your value up? It's what you become. Whenever I send this video to you of Jim Rohn, you're going to hear all this stuff. Oh, that's why he said that. You don't get paid for your time, because if that was the case, they just send you your money, right? You get paid for the value that you bring to the organization. So that's important to remember. Just want you to get a hold of that. The marketplace will pay you what you're worth. Right? So we can't just go out there and say, well, I'm worth $500 an hour. No, the market's not going to pay you that if you don't bring that kind of value to the marketplace, right? That's a good one.
What does that value look like practically?
Yeah. Well, I know that when I come in and I consult with a company, or I consult my wife on her company, my ideas make people a lot of money. The ideas I have. And so here's another thing, another idea for you. You've been in the insurance agent for a long amount of time, right? So you know it. You know construction. There are places in the market where there isn't enough of something. There's somebody not doing something in the market, right? And if you can fix that, the market will pay you handsomely. Does that make sense? So there's things that aren't being done right now in construction, that aren't being done in the DJ world, that aren't being done whatever your business is. If you can brand up, bring your business to the marketplace, and you can do what's not being done, the market will pay you more for what you bring. There's just, and all that stuff is so simple. It's so, yeah, I've heard it all before. But every now and again, you need to hear it again.
Yeah.
And you got to remind yourself of these things because it's your why. It'll drive you to start thinking differently. Right, you might want to write this down. Become an innovator. Become an innovator. If you'll study that, how do people invent stuff? Even if you don't naturally function that way, if you will become innovative, that's how you can get into a place where you're working from home, doing what the heck you want to do. We call my dad's a preacher. What are you doing, Dad? Whatever damn well I please. Whatever I please. Right? That's incredible. I love that. Woo-wee. I'm doing what I please. I'm doing what I want to do. Right? When you're innovative and you can bring value to people, they'll pay you more for the exact same amount of time. Right? So Beyonce, she goes and does a concert. She gets paid millions of dollars. I go down to the coffee shop. They're only going to give me about $50. She brings value to the marketplace because somebody's selling $1 million worth of tickets, right? So I think every one of you, there's something, you've got some sort of unique perspective on life, on the business that you're in right now, right? Your value with where you are right now could significantly increase if you will look at what you're doing at Cheapest Auto Insurance. Look for innovative ways. Look for this stuff is so great. Look for different ways to do things that bring value to Cheapest Auto Insurance, not just for them, because you need the exercise, right? You might as well be thinking this way while somebody else is paying for your time, right? The more you do it, and this is what happened for me, I've helped, oh man, I've made people millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. By just being an incredible employee, right? So that is a building block for what you want to become and what you can do to achieve the goals that you set for yourselves. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
I hope so. Man, become an innovator. Whatever it takes, do it, man. Wow. Because when you do that, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? Think it like that list of things that have been in my life. All those different industries, I just innovated whatever industry I was in. I practiced that skill. It's a skill. It's not, I don't know, I guess I'm maybe naturally gifted in some ways, but you got to develop that stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, lunch here?
Lunch is ready.
All right, let's go. Everybody get hand. I'm joking.
Let's do it.
We got this.
Personal development on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Personal development. Woo-woo. Yeah. This is the wannabe philosophy, right? The wannabe philosophy. I started into it a little bit in that first session, but it really is a key to all this. So the wannabe philosophy is basically, you see it on the back of my card. Be more, do more. I think this applies, and I think this is great for you all right now, in the position you're in right now, where you are right now, is because this philosophy applies to you personally. It applies to a business, an organization, a nonprofit. It applies to all those different, and I don't have it on my tongue. I'm okay. It applies to all those different instances. So right now, when we're talking about being more to do more, because I truly believe that, like I expressed to you in the first session, in order for me to be able to do more in my life in the different seasons, we've had to become more. Right now, and the business that we're running right now, London J Apparel, we've set the goal. We want to be $1 billion brand. Okay, so to be more, to do more and to get there, Cynthia and I, have to become more. So what I've had to do over this last 6 months is really dive into the idea of what would it take to capitalize that kind of growth. Comes back to what you said a little bit ago about the financial side of things and understanding what it takes to be able to fund that kind of growth, right? So for me, it means I had to go back to the woodshed. I had to get back to studying, had to find out, okay, what are the different issues and circumstances that surround an organization setting out to make that kind of leap from where you are to that goal, right? So, in the process of doing more, you've got to develop your process of becoming more. I truly feel like this has to become almost a discipline. It has to become part of your routine. Once you've set your goal, we all wrote our goals down, right? I'm kidding. You're on your process. You're on your way there, right? Once you've established what that goal is, it's as if you've got to start lining out your disciplines of how to get there. What are the steps? What are some of the things that we've started talking about? What are some of the issues that are going to get in your way of becoming more, right? We talked about the friends you associate with, the people that you allow to become close to you. One of the biggest obstacles I feel like I've seen for people becoming all that they can become, to do more than they've ever done, is how they spend their time when you're not working. Right, listen to this here. Many people invest too much time watching. NFL, NBA, NCAA, Netflix, Disney Plus, NBC, ABC, Fox, CBS. If you heard that list of network names and you immediately can list off all your shows, you're spending too much time watching. That's just bottom line. If you set your goal that I want to own my own successful business, I guarantee you there's very few successful business owners who don't go through a period of time when they have to change their discipline and how they spend their extra time, right? Because even when you have a business, you've got to work your business like you're an employee, right? So that doesn't change from where you are right now. The time you spend being an employee, working for somebody else, letting somebody else worry about the 1st and the 15th. Let them deal with that right now, right? Right? So you're in your lane doing what you're supposed to do, trying to be the best employee you can be, trying to create that incredible synergy. I love that word, thank you. In the workplace, trying to inspire people around you, trying to inspire your customers, all that sort of stuff, right? So you're in that lane. So even as a business owner, you got to do the same thing. Now, I'm talking about when you get out of that into your extra time. Many people spend too much time watching. I told this to Joel while we were on our way here. It's interesting, the people we spend our most time watching are spending most of their time working. Right? He was talking about Kevin Hart, how much work he's putting in. Oh boy, he's on that grind. Steve Harvey, on that grind. My man Kobe. All the top people. Now, I'm not saying that, because I've had to temper myself, because I look at people, the people I study are the people who are at the absolute pinnacle, either now or at some point in history they were at that pinnacle. Because I've noticed that they have very similar characteristics to how they spend their off time. This is the key. How you spend your off time. How you spend your on time is important. You got to do that very well. But how you spend your off time, if you're spending so much time investing in watching, you will find it very, very difficult. Your time will start to run out for you to get to where you're trying to get, right? If you're setting a goal to have a multi-million-dollar business that you own, that you run, you employ everybody, you employ your family, your kids have what they need. When they want to start a business, you're in position to invest in their business. That's what I'm talking about. That's what you want, right? Your off time has to become investment into becoming all that you need to become, right? So like I just said to you, for us, the goal that we have set for ourselves, it's going to require me from my position, I have to learn the newest ways to work internet marketing. We're an internet marketing-based business, okay? So I have to spend a lot of my off time learning about what's new, what's coming, what are the trends, and it's a discipline. You, again, back to that same philosophy, you have to feed to succeed. You cannot succeed at this stuff if you're not feeding yourself information constantly. And scandal doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it. Sorry, Mom. Just don't do it, right? And so I find, like I said, I have my specific discipline. I listen to podcasts. I'm not a reader. I've accepted that about myself. I wish I had a beautiful library like some of the guys I listen to. They talk about this great library. Not happening, right? Just not. So I watch YouTube. I listen to podcasts, and I just study. I feed my brain. And then what happens is when I get in positions where we're trying to make decisions about what we're doing with our business, I've got all that information that I have to access to apply to what we're doing, right? So this becomes some of the most important time you'll spend right now for a specific window of time. For us, what happened, like I told you 2 or 3 years ago, we were poor, right? 2017, we were on that grind, and our lives are forever different because of that. That entire year, you came to our house, we were hustling. Doing stuff, moving boxes, figuring stuff out. It was hard, it was exhausting. We solved so many issues in a year's time, but we did it. 7 days a week, sun up to sundown. We put our kids to bed and we be in there working, hustling, grinding. That's right. My wife's family, they're very, very close. They have text chains where they're talking, and they started, wait a minute, where's Cynthia? We were on that grind. I'm not joking. And so we would be in there late at night figuring stuff out. And then we had this process. We sell suspenders for the wedding market primarily, right? And so people wear our suspenders all over the globe. We get all these pictures back from people in these exotic weddings from all these different places in the world. It's really, really cool. But at the beginning of 2018, we had an issue with one of our suppliers. They were sending us the suspenders, and they were jacked up. But we spent like 10 grand getting them. Right? And we did not have time to screw around to tell them to send them because it's easy to do, right? So we had to figure it out. We had to sit there. We had a creative idea. Okay, we'll go to Walmart. We'll get one of those iron deals and we'll just iron the edges. And so we were in there on that grind, ironing the edges. One at a time. Boy, it was hard. It was long. I'm sorry. I apologize. I lied to you. That was the second solution. The first solution, we were in there with scissors, cutting the strings off the edges, trying to fulfill orders. Right? So I'm not telling you anything that we haven't done and that we're not doing right now, right? So that's how we came up. But the issue, the challenge that we faced caused us to be innovative to find a solution. That's the one thing about pressure. Pressure isn't always bad. Sometimes pressure produces some of your best work. I learned this back in, I think it was 1998. It was when I was doing the recording artist thing. Me and this guy had written this song. It actually ended up being our biggest song, our number one song, right? And in the process, the A&R guy comes in. Remember these from the movies, the A&R guy. Right? The A&R guy comes in and he says, no, I think there's something wrong with the middle section. There's not a middle section. I was mad as a buzzard. Telling me what to do, just the attitude of young, cocky, stupid kid, right? And I had this attitude, but he was right. But the thing about it was the pressure that created, even in the creative process, he didn't mean it for my harm. Sometimes the pressurized situations that we come into, they're not necessarily meant to destroy you or break you. You might find on the other side of that it was worth it to go through that pressure because it produces some of your most creative work is in that pressure. Go.
Question. When you're going through that pressure, do you have some thoughts or insights on how to navigate that
Good question.
successfully? Because different people have different reactions.
Yeah.
Some people get defensive.
Yeah.
Some people withdraw.
Yeah.
So how do you successfully navigate that pressure?
You have to, first of all, I think, in my opinion, you have to learn from your past.
Okay.
How you've responded in the past. I think this is very, very important because what I learned from me personally was that how I used to respond was hurtful, was harmful, and there was a wake of hurting people as a result of the way I responded to pressure in the past. I learned that you can go through pressurized situations without hurting and harming anybody if you'll step back and use perspective. This is one of my other keys, is perspective is a weapon. Your perspective on situations, issues, challenges is a weapon. Weapons have to be built, they have to be constructed, so your perspective in my opinion, you have to feed to succeed. Your perspective has to be fed. You got to study problem solving, right? Got to study problem solving. There's a study. If you, oh man, my guy, I can hear my guy talking to me in my head. Make it a study, right? Problem solving, make it a study. Communication, if you're trying to become more than what you are, make it a study, right? Where's this at? Hold up. I wrote down some good stuff trying to get ready for y'all. To be all that you can be. Oh, that's good. That's the question I asked. To be all that you can be. Your philosophy, your attitude, and your education. Write that down. Your philosophy, your attitude, and your education. See, your philosophy about challenges, issues, obstacles. When you're running your own business, when you run 5 businesses like Hugo here, right? Every one of them has its own challenges and issues, right? So your philosophy on how you approach challenges makes a difference. I believe that you have to develop, I kind of fall into it now because I've been doing it so long. I'm only 44, but I've been in this deal of solving issues, getting up every day and solving issues. I kind of have a rhythm and a routine. But in the beginning, I had to study it. I really did. I had to study how, especially a CEO or an executive or a manager, a boss. Who's a boss? What? Okay. I had to make it a study. Right? You can't just depend on what you've always been. You have to make it a study of how you work through issues. I call them obstacles. That's the best word to use, I think. Because an obstacle is meant, sometimes it's meant for you to overcome it. Yeah. Right? When you're learning how to drive, they set up the cones, right? Those are obstacles. So you practice this, you practice that. I think it's the same way with issues. In this season of your life, when somebody else is worried about the 1st and the 15th, this is the best time to develop your philosophy on how to solve problems. Because it will apply to where you're going, with where you're trying to go, right? So, philosophy. Okay, How do you develop your philosophy? Because it applies to, and you might have to write all this down just so you, if you're not one of those really, really smart people, which I am not. Your philosophy about problem solving. You have to develop philosophies about all this stuff, right? Your philosophy about your goals. Your philosophy sets the sail for the direction that you're going. I got this from a man. Your philosophy sets the sail. Like I've never been on a boat. So I can't really, I've never been on a sailboat. So I don't really know. I've just heard the analogies and I've seen sailboats in movies, right? But you raise I've seen it on a movie where they raise the sail up and it catches the wind and it determines the direction. This is your philosophy. Your philosophy determines the direction you end up going, right? If your philosophy is small, you'll only accomplish small things. Do you believe that? Yeah. Right? If all you can imagine is within this box, you got to grow your philosophy. How do you do that? You've got to expose yourself to more inspiration and information. Where you get that from is up to you. Information is everywhere. How many books are there? Isn't it incredible that we live in a country where they don't restrict the amount of books we can read? Yeah. They don't restrict the amount of videos we can watch. They don't restrict the amount of podcasts we can listen to. It's up to you. You've got to get your philosophy solid so that when obstacles come, you're not knocked over and bowled over, right? Your philosophy has to be developed. I think, again, that comes back to that same thing. You have to feed to succeed as it relates to your philosophy. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. Have you ever known somebody who has a philosophy that was, just you're sitting there listening to them, you're like, how in the world did they come to these conclusions? You know what I mean? Just, you don't want to call them stupid or dumb. Idiots. I could come up with some other adjectives. But I know you guys are good, clean people. I don't want to use those here. But you know what I mean? You're sitting there listening to them like, what in the world? What a small-minded. Why are you limiting yourself? Just philosophy just has gotten screwed up. It can happen to anybody if we're not careful. You go through enough challenges and you get broken because we're all broken. You go through enough hardship, and it can shape your philosophy, right? Unless you feed yourself something contrary to what you know or what you've seen. That's the incredible thing about the internet, is that you can be exposed to philosophies that are far beyond you. And this is what I do. I like to listen to people who are much smarter than me, right? And there's plenty of them out there, right? So pick a topic, search the topic, and just begin. I keep biting my tongue. Oh, I'm okay. And just listen, start to listen. And then what I found is I found myself navigating to these different topics, and it just has opened my mind and it broadened my philosophy so much that I can see the pathway to $1 billion brand. I can see it, right? But sometimes, if I hadn't invested the time to broaden my philosophy, I don't think I would be in the position that I'm in right now. And I'm saying to you, I think that's a human condition. That's not based on me and my personality or my talent, my gifts. That is a human condition, your philosophy, okay? Attitude, the great multiplier. This is from my sales training days. my Uncle Barry used to talk about, he used to say, he came in to do this sales training with this company I was working for, the first internet marketing company I worked for. And he said that attitude is you show up to work with a snap in your fingers and a click in your heels. He didn't do that. I'm a dancer, so I can do that. So your attitude really does oftentimes determine your altitude, right? But it's your attitude about the little things. Your attitude about it's not just having a positive attitude. I can do it. Yeah, I can put my mind to it. It's not that. It's your attitude about the stuff that sucks. Right? See, attitude about working for somebody else. Attitude. Your attitude. That's all a part of personal development. If you recognize that you have a negative attitude, right? Make it a study. Go and learn. Find some sort of information about, okay, how do I maintain a positive attitude? Again, he keeps coming back to the same thing. It's not like a broken record. You gotta feed, dummy. I'm joking. You gotta feed. Most of the answers, I feel like, most of the solutions come back to what you're feeding yourself. If your attitude sucks and you know it, right? You've got to figure out what you're feeding yourself that's causing that, right? Obviously, we're all broken, and we have, like I said before, we're broken and we have issues that are in our past that make it very difficult sometimes. Some days, for me personally, I wake up in the morning and discouragement is at the end of the bed, ready to pounce, ready to tell me that I can't be what I say I'm going to be. That's another important thing. What you say you're going to be matters. What you say what you're going to be matters. But I'll get up, and you know, I'm a spiritual person, so I do believe that there's a spiritual force that works against me sometimes because I have a dark past, if I can be transparent. I've made terrible mistakes. I've hurt people. And so sometimes that is waiting at the end of my bed to try to discourage me from getting up to become what I'm trying to become. So for me personally, I have to pray, and I have to listen to something. I've got my headphones in my bag right now. Yeah, I'll put something on. You know, music helps sometimes, but for me, it's listening to something motivating that is going to change my perspective, right? So there it is. Your perspective becomes your weapon against discouragement. Your perspective. That's a good one right down, yeah. Set.
I'm
Go.
glad you, sorry.
Yeah.
The whole music, like music does set, like it can set your tone for your day.
It can it?
Yeah, like it really can. And Rob used to be like, man, you start blasting your music in the morning. I'm like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
And
Roll up in the parking lot. Doom.
Yeah. Sometimes if it's Cardi B, it's,
Yeah,
it just,
straight up.
It pumps you up.
Yes,
Like,
you're. Yeah.
I'm that girl today.
Come on. Yes. Woo! Yes. Me too. Yeah. Especially for me. And now this makes me. I don't know. Rap music helps me. I'm sorry. Yeah. Just something about the hustler's attitude that I hear in rap music. It's like, yeah, I'm about that life. Yeah.
Coming in hot.
Right. I've heard that. Send it to me.
You need to.
Okay, send it to me, would you? My phone number, don't text me. But that's it, y'all. That's it. Sometimes it helps to change your attitude. So it's feeding. Now you have to be careful because they talk crazy sometimes. But I have to do that. I have to do that in moderation. But dadgum, it helps me, especially when I get to the end of the day. We've gone through a long day, and we've gone through a long day. And now the thing that for our lives in our house, because we work out of our house, and at the same time as we're running the businesses, we're doing homeschool for our 11-year-old, and basically I'm running the daycare for our 4-year-old. Right? And this dude, I'm telling you, man, he turned 4 on December 28th, and it's as if he got an extra dose of energy. He just went to another level. And old boy cannot stop eating. I don't know what happened. He's a little bitty dude, too. He eats all day. And so I'm running up and down the stairs, getting stuff for George, and I'm trying to tell myself, come on, Jamar, be positive, dadgum. He's only going to be 4 for like 360 more days. He's only gonna... And so I'm saying all that to say that by the time I get to the end of that day and he gets down to sleep, I still got stuff to do, right? And so I'll get up there because, internet marketing stuff, I get up there and I'm on my computer and I got my stuff going so they can't hear it. But I'm bumping and it gets me just that extra pushes me over, right? And I get something accomplished and I can go to bed. But the thing is, you string enough of those days together, boom, it doesn't happen. They're not giving away nothing to nobody. We got to go get it, y'all. We just have to go get it. That's how me and my brothers talk. Let's go get this money. Now, I mean, and again, it's not all about money. It's, again, I want to be careful. But daggum, it's just what it takes. It takes that kind of attitude. Not just a can do, but I'm going to push, I'm going to fight, I'm going to hustle. Those words are so good. I'm going to grind. I appreciate those words. And then when you have the right people around you who are about that life, about that same hustle, about that same grind, you get on the phone, hey man, what's up? I'm out here doing this, I'm out here doing that, I'm out here doing this, I'm getting this deal done, I'm going to work. This is how your friends make a difference. If you're calling your friends and they're not doing nothing but working for somebody else and that's all they'll ever do, you got to cut it back for a season. You have to. You got to find people. You have to surround yourself with people who are about that life. For you to personally to develop into everything that you said you can be. Everything I believe you said you are going to be. You gotta be with people who are about that life and who want more than you want or very similar for a season. You can go back and hang out with all your homeboys and them when you after you get to where you're trying to get. But for a season of time, I'm telling you, if your attitude is that I'm going to make sure that I spend 80-20 principle, 80% of my spare time, because, sometimes you work with people who weren't about that life, right? And you're spend a lot of time with them, but not here. Take advantage of this energy for real. This may only be for a moment, right? What if they go out of business? That's not going to happen. I'm just saying these principles apply wherever you go, whatever you do. When you're running your thing, these principles apply, right? So that attitude, I'm about that life, I'm going to get mine. They're not giving nothing to nobody, so I'm going to go get it. That attitude, if you cultivate that attitude and you have the kind of relationships, intentionally have those kind of relationships. If you don't have them right now, find them. Find them. They're out there. If you've got to join a networking group, just do it. It's out there. I mean, they got this place right here in Tulsa. They didn't have this when I was here. See what I'm saying? Find people who are about that life and who are going to go get it, whether you're going or not. When I had the music group, I had this, I recognize these things about myself now looking back. Back during that time, it was like this thing was where I'm going to go get this. You guys can be with me or not. I'm going. That was my attitude. And we did it, right? And there was a lot of people who changed in the process of that 6-year period, right? You remember this, right? There was a bunch of different members that were in that group. And when we were standing on that stage, receiving those awards, it was a different cast of people. But dadgummit, I was there. You know what I'm saying?
So
that attitude.
Some people didn't make it. With
Exactly.
Because they couldn't adopt that attitude to stay on the team.
Yeah, they couldn't. Now, I was a little bit harsh. Yeah. I will say, I've gotten better now. I was young and immature, and I erred on the side of, Kobe is known for being a bit of an asshole. Can I say that around here? Right? So, Tom Brady, same thing. Michael Jordan, same thing.
No offense
Right? And so I'm not advocating for that, but there is an element of that attitude that seems to be pretty common amongst the people who are really, here's my word, write this down, maximizing their gifts. That's a key phrase. Maximize your gift. Would you say that to your neighbor? Maximize your gift. Put the emphasis on the maximize. Maximize your gift. So, if I said to you, I want you to write down, maybe make this a note too. Create a list of all of your gifts. All of your gifts. What is a gift? A gift is something that could be monetized. A gift inside of you that if you started a business, if you branded it up, it could be a business all on its own. Right? You may say, I cut hair. I've been doing hair since I was a little kid. Everybody always wants me to do hair. Even if it's not what you do, but it's a talent that you have, right? Whatever it is. I'm a great cook. It's very common. It's a talent, right? Any sort of ability that you have that could be monetized is a gift. And I'm saying to you, as your friend, as your neighbor, to maximize every gift you've got for the purpose of achieving your goals, right? It may take several streams of revenue to put you into the kind of life that you want. Do you even know what kind of life you want? Yeah. What is your goal? How much money annually will it take for you to sustain the type of life you want? In one of the podcasts that I listened to, Jim Rohn, he said that a man told him that in order for me to take the amount of vacations with my family that I want to take, to go to the places that we want to go, I'm going to need at least $250 a year, right? He had a goal. And so I think that's another exercise that you can do right now where you are, right? All these things are going on. This is your discipline. This is your off time work. And then as you graduate, as you level up, go back to the drawing board, write it out, right? First time I hit 6 figures income working, doing something, that was great lifestyle or whatever. But now we've got different goals. Right? Because $100,000 a year doesn't put me in a position to do what I want to do. I need more. Got to have more. Because my why is huge. It's massive. And so, again, setting goals that are beyond our own personal abilities, it pulls us up, right? And so understanding what it's going to take for you, whatever that number is, whatever you want to be doing in your life, put a number to it, right? Figure it out, okay? To take a couple vacations, to not have to get up and go do nothing, right? This is how much cash flow I've got to have coming in. So what does that mean? That means that my husband, he's got to do this many jobs, or we've got to have this much, we've got to build this business up, and then we've got to sell it and take that money and put it in the bank, right? To maintain the lifestyle that we want to have. And so that's the way I'm thinking now, is even the business that we have right now, we could sell it for several $1 million and take that money and put it in the bank and live off the interest. Yay! Doesn't that sound fun? But we don't want to sell it yet. I'm giving you personal conversation. We don't want to sell it yet, because what if we sold it right now for $5 million? Then somebody else takes it and grows it, and now it's worth $25 million. We would have missed out on that. We don't want to miss out on that. You see how our goals changed so dramatically? We were poor 3 years ago. Now we're thinking about selling something and getting $5 million, but we don't want to because we want $25 million? Right? You see what I'm saying? I hope that doesn't sound arrogant. It's not meant to sound. I just want you, again, I'm trying to impress upon you my attitude. And what I've learned and I've discovered is I've always had this attitude. Because sometimes what's in you, when it's not monetized, sometimes you may sound crazy. Do you have haters in your life? So I'm not alone, right? Haters. All that talking, man. Right? All that talking.
Negative people, man. They drag you down too, man. Like, just anybody that's so negative, man.
Yeah.
I think those are haters too. I think.
They are. Yeah.
They're just, man, negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was listening to a guy, and he's a friend of ours, and he was telling us that his brother has pretty much gone to, he said the extreme, but he was saying it as a compliment, as far as like he just doesn't allow negative people in his life.
Yeah.
To the point where they were getting ready to, he was getting ready to pitch an idea to his family, and he prepped his mom. He was like, he checked his mom. He was like, now I know this might sound crazy to you, and so if you're gonna talk a certain way, don't even come.
Yeah.
Like he prepped him. He was like, I only want you to show up if you're gonna have good things to say that's going to, encourage what we're doing. And he was just telling me, he was like, that's how severe my brother is on not allowing negative people in his life. Like that negative energy, talking about Jamel. I mean, he's like, I was like, wow, I've never heard of it at that level before. But that's how intense he was on it. And they've grown successful. He lives in Germany. They've grown a successful business out there. That's how crazy he is on not allowing negative people in his life, around his kids, around his wife.
Straight up.
Like, if you negative, I don't want that energy. Don't come around me.
Straight up.
Shaking people.
Right. Yeah. Or remove yourself. I mean, I know it can be very hard if you're married to somebody who's really negative. That I get it. But you can. I think that a remedy to that. I don't know if anybody's in that situation, but I'm very grateful that I have a wife that is she's grinding, right? And what I've noticed about her and about me is that these were always inside of us. It was always inside of us. It always sounded crazy to everybody else until success comes. So hold on. That's what I would say. Hold on, right? Keep having the attitude that I'm on my way, it's coming. That's the kind of attitude. And if you don't have that, develop that. How do you develop it? The people you're around. It's the truth. The people you're around and what you feed yourself, it matters as you're trying to personally develop. I think that one of the things that I listen to, personal development can become a life study. Personal development, understanding that if you see a successful person, this is so good. If you see a successful person, take him to lunch. He's rich. Why does he need a free lunch? Because you need to ask questions. Right? You need to ask questions. Go. If you see a successful person, go and study how they shake hands. Go study and ask what they think about. Go and study and ask questions about what motivates you, right? Make it a study is what he says. I can hear it in my head. Make it a study. Personal development is a study. It doesn't end when you get to your next level of success. Make it a study. And it becomes an adventure that you're on and not a destination. Because every level that you level up, when you have this kind of attitude and this kind of drive and your goals kind of evolve and they level up, you begin to study what's next, right? I'm in this situation in my life personally right now where I want to become an investor. I want to become a successful CEO. It's just different than what I've been. An executive's thoughts are different because as an executive, you're thinking about the big picture. Right now, we're focused on little details, but when you're the executive, you have to see the big picture, right? So that's my personal development. That influences everything that I read, which isn't that much, influences everything that I watch, everything that I study. So I watch sports thinking about what Jerry Jones is thinking about. Yeah, I'm grateful for the players on the team, but I'm really studying the moves that are being made. So as you level up, every different level that you're at, make it a study. It's all good. Personal development. And it's uniquely designed just for you. You can create your own personal development plan of and so as you set your goal of where you want to be financially, how many businesses you want to own, since we're all on that track, right? I don't care if your parents never owned a successful business. Set a goal, brand it up, right? Get the logo, let it hang on your wall, so it's in front of you. What that does to you is it sparks your imagination and it fuels your day to day, so that every day you show up the Cheapest Auto Insurance, you're about that life. Right? And a synergy is created amongst you, and you'll drive one another to your absolute best success. I want us 5 years from now to get back together and there at least to be 3-4 more millionaires around this table. Wouldn't that be incredible? It's possible. We live in flipping America. Right? But we got to go get it. So you may have to change some of the ways you've done things. You may have to change some of the ways that you have spent your off time, but I'm telling you, it's possible. If you'll put in the work. They're not giving it away, but you got to put in that work, right? This is my personal challenge to you. How many years, right? Okay, if you said that you want to become a millionaire, how many years? How long? Then that determines how you spend your off time. That means that if you say it's 5 years, 10 years, well, 5 years and 10 years is pretty different, right? If it's 5 years, that means you're going to have another side hustle that's going, that you're hustling on, right? It can happen, though. It can happen. When you're in this kind of environment, when you have people like this in your life, come on, who are not afraid to help push you along and spend money, fly people in to come and speak to you. Come on, what? I never had that. So I'm just saying, you're uniquely, did I say that right? You are uniquely positioned for great success. I hope you feel that you are uniquely positioned for great and greater success, right? Starts with your philosophy, your attitude, and finally, in closing, pictures of my son here. I lost it. The maximization of your gifts, right? And finally, you got to be hungry. You have to be hungry. Not envious, but hungry. What makes you hungry? When you realize you're starving. So, thank you all so much for your time. And in just this one last thing I just saw. What are the 2 questions you ask yourself the most? That may be something to just consider. What are the 2 questions you ask yourself the most? I have developed questions that I ask myself, and it drives me. It helps me. Again, this is that attitude stuff that I can't really give to you, but I'm telling you, it's been vital along my journey. The questions you ask yourself. This is so important. Not being critical, but am I maximizing my gifts? Am I accomplishing all that I'm capable of accomplishing? How I respond to that matters. if my response to that last question is, that question of, am I accomplishing all that I'm capable of accomplishing? The answer is no. And it'll probably be that way for a while because I've got big dreams, right? So that's a good question. So maybe that's something you can take away from today. Oh man, dang it, I can't miss this either. Man, God gave me some great stuff for you all. This is good. Woo, this is good. Developing the skill of what if. Wow. What if I could invest $50,000 in the next good idea I hear? What if I could buy a business and live off the profits? Developing the skill to ask that question. Developing the skill of what if. And I know in my life, developing that skill, again, that's one of the key components of the success that we have, is that what if we did this? And then we've developed the discipline of how you follow that question up. And we've developed the systems of, okay, what do we do and how we process it. For me, I like to be on a whiteboard. You might scratch it out on a piece of paper. But then another thing that I do when I ask that question, what if, I go and I meet with people. People who have skills and have experiences that I don't have, right? That's a way of not only asking that question and developing that skill of what if, but then putting it into action. The people you go and meet with and call on the phone, just to ask questions. Sometimes they don't even charge you to call. Hey, if I were going to blah, 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 what would you know what I mean? Don't be scared. That attitude, man, it really, truly is a great multiplier. Does that make sense? Yeah. Personal development. It's up to you. It really is. I've just tried to give you and deposit and invest in you a few philosophies, some of a picture of my philosophy. Now it's up to you. You have to develop your philosophy. You'll start to notice patterns when you're successful. You'll also notice patterns when you're not successful. Whatever the dumb people are doing, don't do that. Right? Whatever the people who have a horrible philosophy, who always lose, who are always complaining, don't do that. Don't be around them. That's easy, right? It sucks when it's your family, but that makes it harder. I know I'm speaking in absolutes, but I do understand that.
And how do you overcome that?
Sometimes you have to take a break from people. That's just the hard, nitty-gritty facts. If it's your wife, you can't do that. Are you two married?
No.
Oh, sisters. Okay.
I told her I don't want to see
But sometimes you do have to take a break from people,
No.
even some of your closest friends.
She's the one that pushes
When would
me.
you say when is your wife? How do you overcome that? How do you?
If your wife is negative, Nancy. Oh, it's tough, isn't it?
You get divorced, man.
No, no.
I mean, you can't make people change if they don't want to.
No, you can't. You're right.
And if she, I'm just saying, if they don't, if they don't want to change and you can't make them,
Yeah, you can't.
you gotta go, man. I mean,
Wow, I can't advocate for that, but I hear you. Dang.
What else are you? What
Yeah.
are you gonna do? What would you do?
Me?
Yeah.
Be massively successful. People, we've noticed that about in our lives.
It's like a challenge, right?
It's a challenge. Use it as fuel. Use it as fuel. The greats, Jordan, Brady. When you have massive success, you have to find things to drive you, right? So I would take that philosophy and apply it to now, right? Oh, she doesn't think I can be successful. and get up and say it to yourself.
Well,
I'm not saying be resentful and harsh, but you know, me and my wife have dealt with a little bit of that. I feel sometimes, and it's probably just inside my head, but sometimes I have felt like my wife doesn't respect me enough. So what do? I'm glad you asked this question. I turn it into fuel, and I go do more work, and it pushes me along, right? But that to me is a winner's mentality. I'm not trying to be mean or hateful, but I think running would be or leaving. I'm not sure. I think that's not productive because because here's a challenge. With that answer, there's so much baggage and trauma. Sorry, I spit. Trauma that comes from that alone. It could sour the success, any amount of success that you could have, as opposed to trying to work through it, and especially if there's a spiritual relationship involved, then I think that you just go and use it as fuel, be successful, become all that you, just be singularly focused, get it done. And then hopefully she'll come around and see, because that's, you are affected by what you see, right? If somebody sees you being massively successful, their attitudes change. And I can say this for a fact, right? We had doubters in our own family. Now they're all working for us. Right? It changes. When you're the boss and when you're successful, all of a sudden people are more willing to listen. What are you doing? Oh, well. It just, I hate to say it, but people are people, man, and they're flaky as all get out. When you're successful, all of a sudden, you've got listening ears. Look at us, we're here. Right? Even family does that. It's so ugly. It's a terrible people condition, but it's the truth, right? There are members in our family who did not respect us and did not respect when we were down and out and we were not where we are now. Didn't want to listen to us, had all sorts of disrespect, right? Negative stuff. But then when it starts to come together, but it wouldn't have come together had I not applied and had we not applied everything I just gave to you, right? And this stuff is not just for the talented. This is work stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I believe in you. You've got my card and you have no excuse. If you have an idea, if you need encouragement, that is my cell phone. Text me, right? I'm serious. 5 years from now, let's set a goal. Let's get back together and let's chop it up. I mean, I don't have to wait 5 years. I'm just saying that within this time frame, somebody else has got to get to the circle, right? You can do it, but it's up to you. Personal development. Amen? All right. Thank you all very much. Any other questions or jokes? We have 10 minutes left, so.
Well, we have, for
This session, right, yeah. Any questions about those particular topics? There's so much good stuff here, man. Go ahead.
You talked about early on how in your pursuit of that goal, that the element of assholeness that was there, and there was how that's a commonality among people that have achieved a level of success.
Yeah.
But now how you have softened a little.
Yeah.
Could you maybe talk a little bit more about that transition?
Yeah.
And maybe talk about how you were still able to keep that edge.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I keep a lot of, I'm so glad you asked this question because it takes me to what I missed. One of the things you really have to monitor is the space in your head. The space in your head becomes so vitally important when you're trying to level up, right? So that kind of conversation of, come on, Jamar, how I feed myself, I have that internally with myself, right? I'm not done being, I'm sorry to use those words, being a jerk or an asshole to myself, not in a detrimental way, but just not giving myself excuses, right? You can't. You can't. And there's so many things in my life that I could say, oh man, yeah, I mean, a person who's been through what I've been through, a person who's made the kind of mistakes that I've made, there's no need to. It's easy.
You gotta say that again. Don't give yourself excuses.
Don't. Go ahead. You go ahead.
So I was telling Rob this saying that my dad used to say. He said excuses are like armpits. We all have them, and they all stink. And it's so true. Like, we can all just sit around and be like, oh, I can never do this because this,
Right.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
It's counterproductive.
It is.
It takes you nowhere.
It stinks.
What'd you say?
It stinks.
It stinks, yeah. So that is monitoring the space in your own head. So, as a result, just I care about people. And I think that I've learned that you can still be successful by building people up instead of tearing them down. Even when you're having to distance yourself from people who are less than positive or who are negative, right? You don't have to do that in an ugly way. But you can make a decision that, you know what, right now I'm about that life, and I've got to focus on what I have to focus on to hit my goals, right? And to be who I'm trying to be. And some people won't understand that. You guys live in Tulsa. I lived in Tulsa most of my life. And a lot of people just don't get it because their worlds are so small. Okay? And so to answer that question, I've just learned how to speak differently, and it was a study, same thing, trial and error, in leading people, and even in your family, you're having to lead people. Our brother Jeremy talks about, teaching people how to treat you, right? When they find out that they can be negative and talk you down and you don't respond in an absolute way, they've learned that it's okay. Some people need to know it's not okay, right? Even if you're not going to scream at nobody, I'm not saying that, but if you've got to remove yourself from constant communication in order to protect the space in your head so that, again, it's all linked together, so that you can accomplish what you set as your goal, that's just how it has to be. Not mean, not ugly, not tearing anybody else down, but building yourself up. I am worth it enough to take some time away so I can focus, right? And, again, the space in your head deal, that philosophy and that principle, one of the things that Mr. Rohn questions he asks is, how much does that TV cost you every year? How much does your TV cost you every year? Right? Oh, I got this TV for $400. I got it on sale. No, it's cost you about $15,000 this year. It may have cost you $25,000 because you were spending too much time binge watching. Hate to be a hater, but since we're here talking about personal development, that TV's got to go. It just does. For a season of time, in order for you to reach your highest heights, in order for you to reach your lofty goals, binge watching, out the door for a season of time. You cannot do it any other way. You just can't. We're too old. It takes absolute commitment, right? If you find yourself, again, listen, I do take time. I think I've developed the discipline because I can't even watch a whole basketball game anymore. I can't watch a whole, because success is that intoxicating, right? The ability to be able to buy whatever I want to buy and go out to eat to have a $200 meal whenever the flip I want to. I didn't say the big word, right? It's that intoxicating. And it happened because we turned the flipping TV off. It's stealing from you. And that is, in no uncertain terms, an absolute. It's stealing from you. Tens of thousands of dollars. Add that up over 10 years. Holy crap, right? It's stealing from you. The space in your head. And I'm saying for a period of time, if it's 6 months, if it's a year, give yourself that time to go for your goals. And I guarantee, this is a money back guarantee. If you do that for a period of time, the success you'll experience in that off time will be so intoxicating, it'll be hard for you to go back because it's an investment, right? They're spending their time working. We're sitting up here watching them. That's what happened to me. I thought I had a revelation. I was like, wait a minute. I'm up here watching. Tom Brady's not watching me. These dudes aren't watching me. So what am I doing spending 3 hours watching them? They don't respect me. And I changed it. I made that shift in my mind to myself. I didn't say to nobody else. I didn't call Tom Brady and tell him, you know what, I made that determination inside me. They're not getting my money. I'm going to go get it. And that gets in my way. That big. We've got probably 7 screens in our house that big. Our kids watch them, right? Yeah. But we're not spending our time watching TV like we used to. We used to sit and watch The Bachelor. We used to sit and watch The Biggest Loser. We used to watch American Idol. All those shows. Stealing our money. 2017 happened, and it's over. I'm telling you, it's yours next. Come on, let's go. Yeah. Right? Thank you all so much. I believe in you. Let's go get it, right? Yeah. Yeah. Call me, text me, email me. I'm telling you.
FaceTime you.
Yes, FaceTime me. I am not joking. I'm not joking. If we want to just spend regular time just connecting, I'm not joking, right? I don't need anything from you. I'm not selling you anything. I don't want anything from you. I don't need anything. But what I do want is for you to hit it, right? That would be the payoff for me, is for you to hit it, right? Let's get it. Let's get it. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Get it. I can see the wheels turning. I love it. Ow! Let's go. Ow! Take those notes, man. Take those notes. And we'll try. I think we'll probably chop this video up, and so you'll have it as a reference point. That's what that's another thing I do. There's one video I watch over and over and over again because I get something out of it every time, and it reminds me of how I felt the first time I heard it. It's good. All right, y'all.
Okay, so we're gonna just take a 15-minute break, and then we're gonna come back for 30 minutes.
Cool.
And we just wanna maybe debrief.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And just kind of hear like what's turning and burning.
Yeah.
So we'll just take 15 minutes.
Cool. And maybe we can look through your notes and then pull out a couple things, and then that could be good. A good talking point. Yep.
All right.
Sweet. And then we'll get on the plane back. What time does that game start?
5:30.
Ah, yes.
All right.
Thank you all, man. This was fun. I'm all pumped up. I didn't know how I was going to get to that last session. And it just come alive. I love it. It's good. Ooh, yeah, you bet. We're taking a picture together, aren't we?
Yeah.
Got to. Oh. Thank you, JoJo. Me too.
5 years, I'm gonna have a J-Lo body.
Come on,
I'm gonna be like, thanks for that. You know?
Yeah, that's great.
It is very true that
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
we always make excuses for.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
I'll jump in. I think make it a study. I think that's so good. I think for me, previously, I stayed away from a lot of self-evaluation because it was hard for me to do. It was hard for me to do self-reflection and being self-aware. I feel like without being too critical of myself. And so I love this because, and maybe it's just I'm at a different place in my life now where I feel like I can do it without, the toxicity. And so it's exciting for me because making yourself a self-study, like your habits, your trends. I was thinking about that whenever I asked you the question, when the pressure comes, how do you, I guess, work through your responses and different things like that? And you said go back and look at how you've responded previously and maybe look at how you want to change, how you interact with that pressure. And so that's exciting for me. I look forward to doing that because it's an opportunity to really get down and see yourself. Become a lot more self-aware. Mm-hmm. And I believe that as I do that, I'm going to observe little changes that I can make that I think may be a little subtle right now because they're going to be maybe thought processes, maybe how I think is going to change is what I'm going to work on. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to yield a huge, maybe a grossly different outcome than I've experienced before. So that's what I'm curious about. I've written some things down already that I want to go back and look at.
That's good, man.
And so just that self-study, making it a study. Is what I'm taking away. So
For me, I think it's definitely setting up your goals and feeding yourself.
Yeah,
definitely. Big impact.
Let's get it, Eagle. Yeah.
I agree with him. There's a lot of things that just things you said kind of sparked something else, and I was like, wow, like I don't have necessarily any goals. Like, well, I say that. One goal that I have met was getting a job working here. So that was one there. I'll build off of that.
Yes.
And then I'll let you know what I've got otherwise. This is the starting point.
That's so great. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. How can you measure a starting point? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Here's a good question.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So what would you say would be some things like, if we're working on feeding ourselves, what are some maybe books that you've listened to? You referenced Jim Rome a lot. Like, who would be some things you'd say, you gotta read this book, you gotta listen to this podcast?
I'll send you guys there's two, and it's 6 hours, 6 hours of investment in yourself, and I'll send them to you. And if you need to call me and ask me my thoughts on certain portions, feel free. But this 6 hours of this man's life's work are so valuable. I mean, he's dead. He's dead. Yeah. And that's why I call him my mentor from the grave. Is he still left that content that's still feeding me today. And so I'll send those to you. So Jim Rohn is one of my main ones. Now again, there's a couple people that I watch. I have a struggle. I have a hard time telling people to listen to, is because they're so raw. One is Gary V. You can look him up. I'll send some over. It just type in Gary B.
B and the
B is it Victor? Yeah, and that could change your life. It really could. And then Dan Pena, Dan P-E-N-A. And now both of them, make sure you got your headphones on. Okay, unless you cuss a lot around your kids. That's up to you. That's on you. But you need to have your headphones on because they're raw, and that's how I like it. Yeah. Right? I don't need patty cake.
Yeah. No sugarcoating.
No sugarcoating. That's where I got that deal. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. That's Dan Pena. He's raw. He is raw. But if you don't get motivated after listening to that dude, you don't have a pulse, right? He's just really intensely good. So those are the 3 that I consistently listen to. I'll dibble and dabble. Right now I'm watching Kobe's stuff because he has a lot. I didn't realize, but he had a lot of interviews where he talked about his mentality, like you were just bringing to me. Whew, some good stuff in there. I spent a lot of time weeping, but it was good. Yeah. Just going back through that stuff. So that's what I would say. Book what? Well, you know, another book. The only book that I've ever really finished, well, two, was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I got from my uncle, Lisa's dad, and doesn't matter if you like the author or not, but The Art of the Deal. The Art of the Deal. Don't worry about who wrote it. Don't worry about who wrote it. I'm telling you out front. No drama from you. But it's one of the only books that I read, and I don't read. It was that good to me, right? Because of you get an insight. The way the book is written, it's written very conversationally, and that's how I need it. And so that particular book's written in a way where you hear inside the mind of a billionaire how he got there and how he approached deals. And so I feel like when it helped me with as I'm navigating through some of the relationships, some of the people we have to hire, some of the deals we're trying to structure, right? And so I think of as you move into starting your own businesses, deal structure is going to be very important to you. Understanding how to put together deals and how to put together people to help you accomplish your stated goal, that deal structure is very important. Here's one more thing. You've got to make this a study, sales. If you don't hear anything else I say, this is one of the most important things, one of the things that's really helped us be successful is understanding sales. And people don't like to study sales or think about sales, but as you move into making your own business, you've got to be thinking in terms of how am I going to sell this? If you can do that, if you can study that, and you learn that, get that information inside of you, even if it's not you doing it. This is what I learned too, because I ended up being a great sales manager when I studied sales. Then I could go and tell people how to sell and what to sell. Then I don't have to do it myself. Yay! All right. But understanding sales, anything you're trying to sell, you can sell it. Right? So every business that we've had, we've been successful over this last period of time because we understood how to sell what we were trying to bring to the marketplace. Right? You can be the best construction worker in the city, but if nobody in your organization knows how to sell and how to market, you're the best and nobody will ever know. All right? Sales.
That's good.
Boom.
What do you think about that guy, Trent Shelton? Do you ever listen to him?
Who's that?
Trent Shelton.
I don't know that.
You never?
I'll look him up though. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Trent?
Yeah, Trent. Shelton.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah.
We'll close the shot on that.
But like you said, you guys, we've got a lot that we can take away, and I'm so excited and grateful that you guys came. Would you guys say it was worth the investment and the time? And so I'm I'm grateful that he was able to do this, and you guys were able to be here to partake in it. And so we'll just continue. You know, we'll just continue, like you said. Let's go after it. Let's set those goals. Let's become business owners together. I love the different ideas, and let's meet again and let's see as that accountability. I love the you know, SJ was talking about synergy. Jamar was talking about how we can make our place a place of synergy where we're all achieving goals. And I think one way we do that is by just encouraging each other. Another way we do that is asking each other, hey, how's it going? Yeah. You know, one thing I love about Benita is she is not afraid to check people when they need to be checked. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and just that attitude that says, hey, how are you doing on this? How are you doing on that? Well, you said,
right.
You know,
how can I help?
How can I help, right? Yeah. And it's all about helping each other, lift each other up, helping us go after, you know, whatever it is that we've defined as our fulfillment or our success, what that looks like for us. So thank you guys for being here, and definitely take Jamark up on his offer. You know, put his number in your phone and have that in there. And I'm going to issue a challenge. If all of you could, we'll get on a group email. We'll send it out today, Elise and I. And if you can respond with one action item that you say, this is what I'm going to do and focus on this next 30 days. Today is February the 2nd. And so whatever you say, hey, this is what I'm going to focus on the next 30 days, that's going to bring me closer to whatever it is that my goal is for this year, or whatever business idea that I have, or whatever that looks like. Write that one thing in that email and just send it and reply all, so we all can see what everybody's working on. And so that's what we'll send the email out today, and if we can have everybody respond by Monday, by the end of the day, Monday. So you've got the rest of the day and tomorrow to think about it and just reply all. And let's just keep each other accountable as we go. And then that way, we're actually doing something with these notes, right? Yeah. We're not just, oh man, that was good, and just kind of leaving it on the shelf, but we're actually, you know, walking out and putting some action to it. So that sounds good? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. All right.
Yay.
Good deal. Thank you guys.